sitting here on my nice comfy couch, relaxing, here to tell you a story. Everybody wanted to hear about Walmart. Everybody said they wanted to hear some of the stories, so I figured I'd tell them. Now, there's going to be several. Figured I'd try and squeak as many of these videos out as possible. Get that big YouTube ad revenue and all that. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But I'm going to start with the one that finished today because obviously it's the easiest to tell because most of it just happened today. About a month ago, I was in Walmart and was picking up my favorite 22, which is the Federal Auto Match. Works in a lot of my guns, so I prefer it over a lot of other ammos because I have least amount of issues with it, and it's nice to be able to just pack one ammo and know that it'll work in all my guns. So go up to the counter to buy some of it. For the longest time, now we're gonna say $3.50. I don't remember the exact price, but forever it was $3.50 or $13.50. I mean, yeah, I wish it was $3.50. But so I go up. Tag says the same price it always did. Was gonna pick up 2 boxes because it was hard to keep it in stock because everybody liked it. The cashier went to ring it up, and it came up like $18 a box. So of course I'm like, well, that's not right, hang on a sec. And he checked it and he's like, oh nope, I guess it went up in price because they didn't change the tags. Now, for anybody that's ever worked in retail, you all know that usually if the tag says one thing and it rings up something else, we honor the tag price because that's what the price is advertised as. So I asked them about, honoring the price until they got the new tags, since that's what it said, and that's what I intended to pay for it. And he responded that no, they couldn't do that because they're not allowed to change the price of ammo. And I'm like, well, okay, I understand, you're not all powerful. Can a manager do that? Oh no, manager refuses, they won't change the price on ammunition. I'm like, okay, that's a new one. So I left without my ammo, and I didn't really quite know what to think, so I called corporate Walmart, and I said to them, so I was curious about your policy on ammunition and price matching. I'm like, ammunition should be just like any other normal thing, and I wouldn't understand why you wouldn't match the price. So the woman looked into the policy and said, well, no, there is no policy saying we can't honor ammunition prices. So she contacted the store, and I got a call back from the manager the next day, who apologized and was nice about it and said, yes, it was a mix-up, that they will in fact honor the correct price, and it wouldn't be a problem. The next time I stop in, just say something, they'll match it. So I'm like, okay, cool, it'll be a while because I don't get up to that particular Walmart because it was one that was out of the way. I know I just sat and said how, mine's 1.5 miles away, but this was a different Walmart that I used to go to before I moved. And I'm like, okay, cool. So about a month goes by, and it was today or yesterday or whatever, depending upon when this gets edited. And I'm right down the road from the Walmart, so I give them a call. And I'm like, hey, wanted to confirm you had this ammo, which they did. And I'm like, okay, cool. About a month ago I was in to get it, and the tag was wrong. And after calling and confirming that they would match the price, they just told me to come in. Oh, well, we don't do that. You have to talk to the manager. So they put me through to the manager, and I explained the situation to the woman, and of course she asked what manager I talked with, and I'm like, well, I don't remember that. That was a month ago. She's like, oh, well, unless you know who you talked with, I can't confirm that, and we're not allowed to change the price. I'm like, well, why aren't you allowed to change the price? Oh, well, that's regulated by the government. The prices are set. We can't change the prices on ammunitions and firearms. And I'm like, well, ma'am, if you don't mind, what exactly, where does it state that? I'm like, because I buy a lot of ammunition, and I feel, I buy a lot of firearms and stuff, and I've never run across that. Obviously, you have to be a certain age and meet certain requirements to buy some of these things, but there is absolutely nothing regulating the price of it. And she's like, oh, well, it's just like tobacco and milk and alcohol, it's the price is set. And I'm like, well, no, it's not like all that. I'm like, I work retail and I'm well aware of tobacco and milk and all that being regulated by price, but ammunition is not one of those things. Oh well, that came down from above me, and that's what I'm sticking with. And I'm like, well, and she was snotty enough to where I almost felt like she was kind of left leaning and didn't really like dealing with ammunition, you know. So I said to her, I'm like, well, I guess, and I tried to be as nice as possible, but at this point, obviously, I did have a bit of an attitude about it because this was wasting my time, and I'm like, well, I guess I will call corporate back and reconfirm with them what had happened. So I hang up with her, and I should state, after I said that to her, that she was once again kind of snotty. She's like, well, I'm here till 5 all day, so I'll be awaiting your call. In the sense, just how she said it, you could tell it was kind of, oh yeah, good luck, you ain't getting anywhere. So I call corporate, I get another woman, and I explain the situation to her, and she's, okay, no problem at all. She pulled up the ticket number, saw everything, saw that I'd contacted about them, and she's like, okay, let me contact the store and we'll get this set for you. So she calls the store and everything, and I'm on hold. She comes back and she's like, okay, great. And we'll call the woman Heather. She's like, I talked with Heather at the store, and she said there's absolutely no problem, just to contact her when you get there and they will handle it. They will get you set straight. I'm like, okay, cool, great. I'm like, I was kind of surprised that she said Heather, because at the time this other woman had said that she was the only manager on the store at the moment. So I'm like, okay, whatever, maybe that's just what she said. So I immediately call the store. There is no Heather. So apparently what happened was the woman from corporate had called the wrong store. So go figure. Right effort, wrong place. So, of course, I had nothing accomplished. I had to call back, sit on hold for another 15 minutes, at which point I got somebody else from corporate, and I re-explained the situation, explained how I'd just gotten off the phone with them 20 minutes ago, and how I just needed someone to get this set up straight so that I could get my ammo and be on my merry way. So, of course, she was also kind of, the first one was very nice, despite her inability to call the right store. This woman was kind of, iffy. And she's like, oh, well, there's no record. And of course, they misspelled my name like 3 times, and I kept trying to give them the proper spelling. And they're like, there's no record of anything. There's no, the only ticket you have open's like a year old. And I'm like, well, so there's no ticket of today or a month ago? Oh, no. So we go back and forth on that, and finally you could tell she was getting pissy. So I said to her, I'm like, well, what about matching the price? Oh, well, that would be up to the store manager. The store manager has the final say on that. And I'm like, well, if it's your policy to match the price, it shouldn't be an issue. Oh, but it's up to the store manager. I'm like, okay, but, can you contact them and explain to them that there's no policy or law holding them from doing this? So at which point I go back and forth with her for another couple minutes, and she keeps repeating it's up to the store manager, and I guess she finally gets pissy with me and she puts me on hold and calls the store. Now at this point everything shifts. Everybody all of a sudden starts falling in line, and she comes back and she's like, okay, it's all set up, I touched base with management, and you're all good, oh, she's going to take care of it, I've got her on the phone right now. So I get back to the first manager at the store I talked to, and you could tell she was kind of pissy that, I guess she had been overthrown, because she started saying, oh, I contacted my store manager, and he said I could do it, and that, okay, and I said, oh, well, he'll be calling back, so it'll all be good. Her whole story was flim-flam, didn't make any sense, didn't bother me. So, all I had to do was Burned up about an hour of my time, give or take, and out of it came 2 boxes of my favorite 22 ammo at their older price, pre-price hike. And yeah, moral of the story is hold companies accountable to their policies. If they say they'll match prices, have them match the price. And if someone quotes some BS law or regulation or policy, call them on it. Ask them to provide the information of where it came from and see how far they can go with it. Because more often than not, if you think it's BS and you know differently, you'll end up winning. Let me know what you think. Thinking of doing a couple more of these. Y'all have a good night.